Hey everybody, it's Holly, the Everyday Life Coach, and we are at episode 13. Today we are going to talk about the practice of patience. And let's face it, none of us are born with patience, right? I love that saying that patience is a virtue. And when you think about patience, it's really the ability to let go of control and to have that kind of delayed gratification, which so many of us, are not able to do. I was looking at the definition of patience, and it is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering. Delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. And pretty much at some point, our impatience has caused us to get angry or stressed out, right? You're in the car, you're running late, the lights are not in your favor, and boom, you're freaking flaring, you're cursing at every single person as you drive by. The waitress who you feel like is too slow when you're hungry and you have somewhere to go. The line in the grocery store. We've all had these moments of impatience. Even at work, right? Or in our personal life. We want things to, come at us quickly and right now. And we're not really able to slow down and accept that delayed gratification. When you think about the times you were impatient, what comes through is the idea of beyond the kind of angry and upset, there's this level of drama and intensity. You're in kind of fight mode. And, our body and our mind does not respond well to that fight mode. And what will end up happening is, the more we get into that impatient rhythm, it wears on your mental health. There are studies done that show that people who are impatient have more depression and unhappy people. So if patience is a skill, which it is, right? This skill is about showing self-control and restraint. And so how do you hone into this skill? I think the first thing that is probably even the hardest to do is to realize you do not have control. When we want to control everything, right, and the shit hits the fan differently than we think, we lose our minds. We lose our minds because we want to have control. We, in our head, figure out this is how it's going to happen. And when it doesn't, we go into that fight mode. So we need to realize that we don't have control. Go into the day, the meeting, the grocery store. Go into it with the mantra of, I have no control over blank. I have no control over the lights on Ohio River Boulevard when I get into the car. Whatever it is, start that, moment with that mantra. I have no control over blank. Another thing that you can do to kind of hone in the patience skill is deep breathing. When you feel like you're going to get into that situation or you're in that situation and you feel like you're starting to kind of get out of control and these triggers are happening, deep breathe. I talk about this in episode 3. I would go back to episode 3 and kind of look at some of the techniques and tips. you're going to need to give your brain the oxygen it needs, because when we go into that flight or fight situation, our breath gets shorter. We're not getting enough oxygen to our brain. Things get a little loopy. So it's really important that when you start to feel that angst, that you take a pause and start to do deep breathing. Another thing to hone into that skill is to practice empathy, right? To go back to some of my examples that I had given when we start to, lose our mind with no patience. The grocery clerk could be on her, I don't know, 8th hour of working and standing up. You don't know her deal. She could be extremely tired. The person in the car that's in front of you could have been told something dreadful, and they're just having an awful day. See the situation in the lens of the other person and kind of go with the flow of that. One of the things, too, with impatience is, and really practicing patience, is often around time. So the triggers are often around being something being late, when we procrastinate or we're not on time for a situation, we start losing our mind, but we do have control to be there on time. So, set an alarm, leave 15 minutes before you normally do. Get that trigger out of the way so that you don't have to be feeling that fight or flight when it comes to that. Another thing is to kind of be mindful of the situation. Why are you feeling angry or upset? What's happening? Really kind of get in your head when you're feeling impatient. I would say, journal. Start to journal these kind of moments. We all have phones that have notes. I would, use the notes and just kind of tack when you're feeling impatient. What was the trigger? What happened? And really start to be mindful of what's going on and how you can change things. And the last thing is to smile and laugh. My gosh. Laughter, as everybody says, is the best medicine. I think we get so mired down and, tense, and face gets clamped up. Smile and start to laugh. Think about, a funny moment, or, listen to something funny. Smile at, the person next to you, or smile at the moment. This will definitely help. Listen, patience is a skill, like I said. It's a skill. And it's a skill that we all need to work on. And so I leave you with this quote by Leo Tolstoy. The two most powerful warriors are patience and time. This is Holly Most, your Everyday Life Coach, episode 13, The Practice of Patience.